a stunning finding in that Washington Post poll. Even though majorities think Trump should face criminal charges, of course, he's been indicted and arraigned by New York DA Alvin Bragg in connection with the Stormy Daniels payments. Even though majorities think he should face criminal charges, 18% of those who want him arrested still back him over Joe Biden. 20% who think he's a criminal still would pull the lever for him over Joe Biden. And I'll tell you, my own belief is because of things like the economy. That Washington Post poll that they referenced showed, among other things, on the economy, Americans say Trump did a better job than Biden, 54 to 36%. So they might plug their nose and vote, but they're ready to vote non-Biden one way or the other. What are your thoughts on how the economy is going to affect the decision the voters are facing right now?
Well, it is going to have a huge impact for sure. It always does. But let's go back to the midterms that we just had. It was May of 2022. Biden was also at historically unpopular poll numbers. His polls were at a low. And then we had the Dobbs decision, and nevertheless, what was expected to be a red wave petered out and kind of turned into a puddle. And so things can change fast in politics. I wouldn't just look at today's poll numbers. The reality is we've A/B tested this, as we would say in tech land. Trump's preferred candidates, all lost, every single one of them in the midterms. He himself lost in 2020 to Biden. And so, it's and let me just say about the midterms, at that same time that those results came in, 3/4 of the country thought we were on the wrong track and we're already in a recession. So the fundamentals did point to a red wave. There should have been a red wave. The out of power party always gains in the midterms. And yet the Republicans lost the Senate, even to an even bigger majority. So, things can change rapidly in politics. And the fact of the matter is that Trump he's extremely unpopular too. He's maybe the only politician in America who's more unpopular than Joe Biden. Those same polls show that. So it's pretty clear that I think the public would love a choice other than Biden-Trump again. I think they're fatigued by that choice.
Yep.
And I think that as unpopular as Biden is, Trump is the one politician who could lose to him. Now, it's true that if we're in a very deep recession by 2024, that does change the game, and it may swing some states into Trump's column. But I think he's going to need something like that, quite frankly.
Are we likely to be? The buzz now is that keep your eye on the commercial real estate sector because they're getting hit worse than anybody with these federal interest rate hikes that we continue to see from the Fed. Plus, nobody's working in the buildings now, thanks to the COVID hangover. The banking crisis that is or isn't, depending on your viewpoint. We had you and Vivek on debating that not long ago. So how do those two things play out over the next few months? Well, year plus.
Yeah, I think there's a very substantial chance that we'll be in a deep recession or just, a major recession by next year. So you're right. The last time I was on your show, we were discussing this banking crisis, and I was debating Vivek about that. And his claim was that there is no banking crisis. This was a Silicon Valley problem, and that, I was exaggerating the problem because I wanted a bailout. And this was the situation at SVB was uniquely caused by a bunch of, reckless startups, and it was sort of Silicon Valley fat cats for pushing for this Fed intervention. And I was making the point that SVB was a canary in the coal mine, and that we do have a larger crisis in the banking sector as a result of higher interest rates. That has caused both sides of the banking ledger balance sheet to be challenged. On the one hand, you've got deposits fleeing the system. So over $1 trillion deposits have left for things like money market funds because they're paying 5%. And then on the other side of the ledger, with respect to their assets, they've all been massively impacted by the increase in interest rates. So first at Silicon Valley Bank, the reason why they went insolvent, the reason that they went under, it was not because they invested in risky derivatives or some other crazy product. It was because their T-bills, their long-dated bonds, went down massively in value as a result of the interest rate increase. Now, the Fed created a program to solve that. It was called the Bank Term Funding Program, where they would loan money to banks at par value of these bonds to help provide more liquidity. But the Fed has not solved the other problem on bank balance sheets, which, as you mentioned, is commercial real estate. A lot of these regional community banks, they've made huge numbers of loans. They're the main lender for small business borrowing and for commercial real estate, and the commercial real estate sector is extremely challenged right now, and they are carrying these loans on their books still at par value. And the reality is, if they had to mark these things to market, I think it would show huge losses. So I do think that there's still an enormous amount of stress in the banking system. None of the sort of underlying currents that are causing that stress, the high interest rates on the one hand, and then the challenged asset portfolios on the other, none of those things are really getting better on their own right now. So I think there's still likely more shoes to drop here.
Sure, you could go to Brazil or Colombia and get some work done to your face, but you don't need to do that. You see, you can make yourself look great right from the comfort of your own home thanks to Genucel and the final week of their Mother's Day sale. Look years younger right before your eyes. Here's a real review from Genucel.com. Claire writes, I absolutely love Genucel. My skin feels so good, tighter, younger, with a more even tone. And I only used it for a week. My advice for everyone, take a before picture. Her husband Jim writes in saying he loved it too. Nothing works like Genucel because it's a family recipe for over 20 years made by a compounding pharmacist in small batches and always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Now, go to Genucel.com/MK60 and save over 70% off Genucel's most popular package. That's all their best stuff during their Mother's Day sale. Every most popular package features their ultra retinol and dark spot corrector on top of all the other good stuff. You get that as well. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60, Genucel.com/MK60, and you will get a complimentary spa essentials box with every package order for just one more week, plus free upgrade to priority shipping. GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.